Okay, so let's go and review the last couple episodes of Maul Shadow Lord. So this episode obviously picked up where the last one left off, where we see the tease of the Empire at the end of the episode. So as we're seeing the Empire sort of being integrated into Janix, there's a few different aspects that I've seen a lot of fans are pointing out, and I think a lot of fans have a really strong, solid point. A lot of the transports and the armor, a lot of it is supposed to look and resemble the Republic, even though obviously as fans we know there's Republic and there's Empire. But in this Maul Shadow Lord timeline and Bad Batch timeline, there's sort of this transition period between Republic and Empire. And we're seeing the Phase 1, is what I'm calling them, Phase 1 Stormtroopers, and we're seeing Republic gunships, but they're pretty much no color on them whatsoever. They're just grayed out, they're plain, they're stale, and I think it's meant to just look bleak. That's the thing I'm seeing a lot of people are saying online, is the Empire's presence in this show makes everything feel so bleak. It feels that Captain Lawson, his department, and people like him are pretty much rendered useless. The Empire is taking full control. They'll get the full credit. They're completely blocking everything. They're making everything more challenging for businesses, for pedestrians, civilians, for everyone. And this is some one planet. This isn't even a Jedi. Someone reported Maul. And so now the Empire is sending people. So this isn't even the sighting of a Jedi or the rebellion or takeover. This is just one lightsaber user has been spotted. And now all of this is happening on Janix. So I think it's meant to set up just how over the top the Empire was, especially going after the likes of Jedi. Vader obviously is going to want to go to great lengths to go after Jedi. There have been several points in Star Wars media ever since even Disney took over where Vader himself is going after Jedi. But especially since Disney's taken over, the storyline of Vader targeting Jedi has been sidelined completely and thrown to Inquisitors. Vader went after Kenobi, and in Rebels, he would go after Kanan and Ezra every now and then. But for the majority, it was always the Inquisitors that's been handling this stuff. And so Marek, we first saw in Ahsoka, and now Marek, we don't really know what he is, because in Ahsoka, we already saw him get killed, but he turned into green mist, which is sort of something we've seen before, but not entirely. We have seen Savage Opress die in Clone Wars, and when he died, his body, or his arm anyway, turned to mist. The Night Sisters used magic to take this skinny guy to make him extremely muscular with green magic. So when he died, his muscular self, all the green mist emitted from his body and became his skinny self as he died. So what does that really matter? So Marek turned into green mist entirely when he died. He didn't turn into some other form, he just poof, gone. So either he was completely revived after being killed at some point before Ahsoka, presumably by Maul, but the Night Sisters brought him back. Is Morgan Elsbeth going to be the one that did bring him back? Or is there some other Night Sister connection that we haven't seen yet? And if Night Sisters can raise someone completely from the dead, if Maul gets his hands on this kind of magic, who's to say Maul can't use it for his allies? So I think there's a lot of unconfirmed, open possibility space here between multiple different storylines that could end up happening. So Marek aside, I bring all that up because now that he's in Maul, he has more of an intimidating presence in this show, I feel, than Ahsoka. And maybe that's part of the writing, because we still have the same director for both projects, but it just feels different somehow in this one. In this one, he's almost a little scary. Not in a typical horror, jump scare, eerie feels kind of sense, just in the way it's shot, in the way his presence is on screen. It's just more of an unsettling feeling seeing him on screen in this show than we did with Ahsoka. So I'm hoping that continues, and I'm hoping the Crow or this other Inquisitor, or whatever his name technically is, that we know we've seen him in the trailer for the show. I hope the Inquisitors in general are treated the same, and any other dark side user besides Maul that may or may not show up later in the season. So overall, this episode, this is another two-part. This is another couple episodes, and they feel like part 1 and 2 did the same story. Uncle Docky, Devin, Captain Lawson, and Riley. I got all the characters. We have 4 characters. They're on the run from the Empire. Maul gets minimal screen time in these 2 episodes, and I think the reason being is we see him building up toward making his move. This is what he's been waiting for. He knows that he's got to turn these Jedi, but if he's ever going to do it, he knows that Inquisitor going after them is the perfect excuse to give them, saying, see, common enemy. And so that's exactly what he does. These episodes, we see Captain Lawson is now compromised. The Empire's after him because they've seen Uncle Docky being in his home because Riley, his son, let Uncle Docky and Devin into his home. Now the 4 of them are on the run. He tries to find an ally, but that didn't work out. And as they're on the run in the city, we end up with this train sequence that we saw in the trailer. And so now we see Devin and Riley are on this train, and we see the Inquisitor jump on. And so now that the Inquisitor is fighting Devin, you get to see her starting to act a little bit more angry. You know, she's being very defensive, and she's also just angry that she's being targeted just for being a Jedi. She's still kind of a child, and so she grew up as a Jedi, are supposed to be the peacekeepers, and now she's targeted because she was a peacekeeper. So it sort of makes perfect sense why Maul would target someone like her, and in perfect dramatic fashion, Maul does show up to this fight to help Devin. He doesn't attack her one bit, helps her fight off the Inquisitor, and these characters get away. Riley's just looking up like, oh hell, it's Darth Maul now. I mean, he just looks like he's completely out of his element, and he has no control over the situation at all. He's not a Jedi, he's not Sith, he doesn't even have any powers or abilities or weapons. He's just there, and it just sucks for him. So that's where we leave off these 2 episodes. Mark is getting close to finding Maul's base, but hasn't caught up with Maul yet. So overall, that being the story, I feel like going into these next couple episodes, we're going to see Maul be a lot more directly involved than we did in these 2 episodes. So I'm looking forward to the show moving forward. I'm excited to see what Maul does. How far will he go to tempt these Jedi to the dark side? Uncle Docky's supposed to believe in hope, but per Marek's report to the Empire, Uncle Docky's now been thrown in as being in league with Maul, which is not really what he's doing, but that's the storyline he's being given. And so we'll see what Uncle Docky does. We'll see if he sticks around just for Devin's sake or not. So more to come. I'm excited. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.